Welcome back to another edition of the Disney Dish Podcast with Jim Hill. It's me, Len Testa, and this is our show for the week of Schmurz Day, January 30th, 2023. On the show today, news and two special guest stars. It's like an episode of Riverdale with Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall. Then in our main segment, Jim gives us the history and future of the Swiss Family Treehouse. Let's get started by bringing in the man whose self-care tip is to be more like I-95 and never stop working on yourself no matter how much other people complain. It's Mr. Jim Hill. Jim, how's it going?
It's going well, Len. But based on my own personal observations, it's the very best way to do self-care, to be like the people out on working on I-95. Well, that means your daily self-care routine should get underway right before the sun goes down and involve a team of people in reflective vests who surround you with orange barrels and traffic cones. And then they have to clear that same material away just before dawn. And also, I guess I should mention here, Nancy looks lovely in bright orange and a heart.
And Klieg lights, right?
There we go. We got
it. By the way, our producer, Aaron Adams, yesterday called me because he was actually talking to the head of the Florida Department of Transportation.
Ooh.
And I was like, okay, tell him this self-care tip because I had it ready for you for today. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Very true. Very cool.
I tried.
Okay.
All right, let's do a quick shout out to subscribers over at disneydish.bandcamp.com. Thanks to new subscribers Jeremy Inman, Danny Farrell, John Grigas, and Mitch Norris, and longtime subscribers Willie Crocker, VCause91, Jeff Kelly, and A.D. Perkins. Jim, these are the cast members who meticulously maintain the grass-roofed buildings over at the Norway Pavilion and Epcot's World Showcase, including Kringla Bakery Aga Cafe and the Royal Summer House. They say the best part of the job is contributing to a culturally accurate architecture that's also super friendly to the environment. And the biggest challenge is to keep the goats who eat the grass from falling off the roofs. And they add, yeah, we're talking to you, Emma Sophia. True story.
Bang! It's very sad. Very sad.
All right, folks, let's do the news. The Disney Dish News is brought to you by Storybook Destinations, trusted travel partner of the Disney Dish Podcast. For a worry-free travel experience every time, book online at storybookdestinations.com. Jim, one quick piece of news here. In January of 2022, Disney announced that Hollywood Studios' newest restaurant, the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, would be opening in Toy Story Land in 2022. And this week, Jim, we finally got an official opening date. Mm-hmm. And because I'm trying to be more accommodating this year to Disney's media relations team, I'm going to say that the opening date for Roundup Rodeo Barbecue in Toy Story Land is December 113th, 2022. For those of you still clinging to traditional concepts of time, that's March 23rd, 2023.
Oh. Well, that's like leap year. All right, got it. Okay.
All right, so food is served family style with some choices available. So the first thing everyone gets is the Prospector's homemade cheddar biscuits, served with sweet pepper jelly, and they look good. I'm a big fan of cheddar biscuits. Also, everyone gets a choice of salads. So you get a tomato salad, a romaine and kale salad, and a watermelon salad, which is entirely plant-based. That's basically cubed watermelon with freshly torn mint leaves. And that tells me, Jim, that there's some college program kid from Indiana whose job is to tear mint leaves in a kitchen somewhere. You just know that that's happening.
But he'll smell great when he goes back.
Exactly. Just fresh. Every time he's near someone, they're like, do you have any gum? I need some gum.
There we go.
You know his nickname is Wrigley's. All right. Also, Jim, there are meats available. There is Evil Dr. Smoked Ribs, which are pork ribs slow cooked for hours. And they have an on-site smokehouse, which is kind of interesting. I think that's going to make the entire land smell great.
Okay. Also,
beef brisket. My favorite name for anything on this menu is there's a sausage in my boot. Okay. And barbecue chicken. For plant-based options, which you can also get, slow smoked cauliflower, oven roasted bratwurst, and bratwurst is in quotes. Mm-hmm. I always love it when food is in quotes. It's like, okay. I can't believe it's not butter. Well, what is it? It's not butter. And then impossible rib chop seasoned with spices.
Okay.
For sides, you get 4 sides. 1, the married spuds, which is loaded potato barrels, drizzled with green goddess dressing. You get Forcefield fried pickles. Ooh, Fried pickles are still a thing. The Slinky Dog mac and cheese. That's how it's written. Buckin baked beans. I cannot wait to hear that pronounced by semi-drunk tourists. Cowpoke corn on the cob. Mean old potato salad. I'm loving this menu. Veggie slaw and campfire roasted vegetables. For desserts, you get cupcake a la Forky, a lemon blueberry cheesecake, Billy's chocolate silk pie, Goat's apple pie, and Gruff's peach strawberry pie. No word yet, Jim, on reservations or prices, but Disney has said that it's the same menu for lunch and dinner, so same cost either way. Also, Jim, you and I have seen some underground video, if you will, of the inside of Roundup Rodeo Barbecue. And for me, the first time I saw that video, it was like answering the question, what if we served food inside the Toy Story Mania queue? What do you think about the restaurant, Jim?
Realistically, it is a consistent look for the whole conceit of this land, which is, again, it's Andy's backyard. And hell, if you look at the exterior of the building, it's supposed to be a cardboard box that Andy set up as this restaurant and drew the characters with crayons. So it's a consistent look. Face it, you're coming here for the menu, which, as a fan of the Polite Pig over at Disney Springs, I love the vegetable offerings here. Can't wait for get over there and give those a try. But yeah, I think it might be a trifle busy inside, but I don't think anybody's going to this place for the decor.
I worry about the noise level because it looks like everything there is going to be loud, and I'm wondering if this is going to be the Toy Story version of the Rainforest Cafe or the T-Rex place over at Disney Springs. It just looks loud.
Yeah. I mean, even Docking Bay 7. When we were in there late last year, I was kind of startled at how loud that space was. So
it was loud and it was small, and this is going to be loud and larger. Yeah.
Which again, that's what I look for in a dining experience.
Exactly. And speaking of food, we want to welcome back our first special guest star for the podcast. You know her, you love her. It's Christina Harrison from touringplanes.com, here to talk about all of the food at Epcot's Festival of the Arts event going on now. Welcome back, Christina.
Hi, guys. That was a big sell. Do you think that, I feel a lot of pressure. Do you think that the menu sounds like, to me, Regal Eagle? Like I got less Polite Pig and I got more Regal Eagle.
Smoked ribs, beef brisket, sausage,
beans.
Chicken. I mean, yeah, those are all Regal Eagle.
Curious. Yeah. I'll be there.
Does Regal Eagle have a smoked cauliflower?
No.
Okay, so that might be new. I wonder if do they have fried pickles? I think
they do.
Do they?
They absolutely do.
They do. Interesting.
There's
and they've got mac
really
and cheese.
Cool.
And they've got baked beans. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, there's an Instagram you should follow. I'll send you the link. They do this kind of thing. It's us.
Is it at Touring Planes?
It's us. I did it like last
Spoiler alert, it's us.
Literally, Regal Eagle Revisited. Mary and Joseph. What, do you know what you pay me for? You just send the check.
I consume a lot of social media.
It's okay. You're busy. It's all right.
All right. So last week, Chrissy, you and I were at Festival of the Arts, and you were there on opening day.
Yeah.
And your goal during Festival of the Arts was to figure out what the best values were and what to avoid. Why don't you tell us what you learned?
That's always my goal. Okay. So the most popular thing to come out of the festival was the video of you having a privacy moment with the pastry Morocco.
Oh, yeah, Jim, have I told you about this?
Everybody knows, Len.
Have you seen this, Jim?
This one might have gotten by me. Again,
okay.
We've had 3 snowstorms in 5 days. I've been outside shoveling. What did I miss?
All right, so Jim, you know how baklava is made with phyllo dough layered with butter, honey, and nuts, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine that, but then deep frying it.
With white chocolate, pomegranate, milk chocolate, orange. So when we go around, we had a lot of our friends with us. Ham was with us, and Bethanee Benton and Jeremy was there. And Colin
Ham
from
is
Main
Hannah,
Street Dish.
Audrey, and
there were a lot of us.
And Maya.
Okay. So when I go up and order, I just get 2 of everything because the whole point is you don't want it to be too expensive, but it needs to be something you can share. It's a food festival, right? So I get 2. So Len tries, there's a video of him with his first privacy moment. Len tries the phyllo pocket and walks away from me.
Jim, he
doesn't want to be on camera.
It was like Every neuron in my brain that has a receptor for addictive things fired at once.
Oh.
We forgot all of our home training. There was
It was amazing.
all of our manners just was all gone. And then came back the next day. and at that time I knew better, and I just got him his own plate because we were with our mother, and I didn't want her to see him like that. So
I love the idea of someone going, okay, we're going to take the phyllo dough, the butter, the nuts, the pistachios, and the honey, and we're going to bake it, and then we're going to cook it again. Like, that's just genius. It's so good, Jim.
And then orange chocolate, et voila.
Oh.
Yeah, because the orange chocolate, the citrus flavor cuts the sweetness of the fried baklava.
You need acid with a sweet. It's really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's just
just good
that's
cooking.
What I needed. Yeah, that's
Jim,
just a good baker.
They give you 3 pieces, Jim. I could eat 1, maybe 1.5. It's that.
You are a bull-faced liar. I literally have video of you demolishing it.
Okay, this is the part where we have to tell Aaron to cut that last part out.
Okay.
It's on the internet. I'm going to post it again when we're done with this. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
So, 2 things I want to mention. Number 1, Italy they're just taunting us now. I mean, the prices went down.
Okay.
And France is the new Italy, I dare say. I don't know. The whole booth at France was $41. To
buy one of everything.
Not one thing. I hated everything. I thought it was all terrible. Italy was what
are they serving? What are they serving in France?
There was a millefeuille. Now, it's all technically beautiful, but I mean, I'm not a culinary student. I want you want good stuff that everybody's going to eat, or almost everybody's going to eat. And if it's going to be expensive, it needs to be something like the mussels at Craftsman Courtyard, where it's sort of like a common dish, but I'm not going to be able to make it myself for $7.50. I'm not going to go to the trouble. I'm not going to go to the store. Really beautiful. So, something like that. I would.
The mussels were great. That's a pretty large bowl of mussels.
Oh, it's wonderful.
With garlic bread on the top.
Oh, it was outrageous. But okay, so in France, they have the one thing that was really stunning was the beet Napoleon. Do you remember that?
I saw it, but
stacked.
But when you think of French patisserie, do you think the flavor of beets?
Okay, this wasn't for you. You're a carnivore. This is a plant-based item. So you're not the target audience.
I like to think I have a Gallic sensibility, and I will. And
you do not. We are a hardy peasant stock.
I think what I mean by that is I periodically call for people to be guillotined. Maybe that's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. I amend my prior statement. Okay. Yeah. Obviously, you're a dainty thing. I'm a peasant, hardy, childbearing, hip stock. Okay. So this is a millefeuille. So like if you watch the Great British Bake Off, of course you're going to feel like you already know what it should look like I do. But anyway. It's just everything had this. This is one of the uses of the balsamic vinegar boba that made its appearance at this festival.
Oh, right.
That is devil spawn. Yeah. It's like evil in a spherical shape. It tastes like
it comes from the ovaries of Satan. Yeah,
and hatred. Mm-hmm. But you pay for it, so it makes you hate it more.
Yeah. Like if spite was a flavor. Yeah.
Right. No. And I understand the process vaguely of like reverse spherification, and literally just because of the olives is it Alejo? Yeah. That's the only reason I understand the process. So, but there's these bobas are in 2 places. I'm not sure what's happening if we got like a discount on the balsamic vinegar, but just avoid, if you see it, just absolutely not. Just assume it's absolutely not. I would skip France altogether.
The other thing I thought that was weird in France was they're doing a savory croissant.
They've had that before, the truffle one, but it's false truffle, fake, false, lies.
It's a petroleum-based truffle, right? It's not actual truffle.
It tasted
artificial,
like a forest floor smells, but not in a good way.
But not the good way.
Not in like the sun. Not in like.
Not in sort of like a.
You know what I'm saying?
Like a Jane Austen.
Not in a Snow White way, like and then all of the animals come to you. It's more like, oh my God, is that mold or dirt? I don't know.
Okay, so you liked. Let's go back to what you liked. You liked the mussels. You and I ate the. Was it the carne asada in Mexico?
That is outstanding, and that is beyond my price point. I am cheap.
This was $10 or $11, right?
Yeah,
But
even with the corporate card, I'm still $10 to me. It's got to be stupendous.
but that was two really, really nice pieces
Oh, it's
of
so good.
beef. It's like 4 bites, and it was really cooked perfectly, like a really nice medium rare. Like I was actually surprised that a food booth could get that consistency
Right, I
out
said
of
that.
beef.
If you would read what I write, I said that. I also said,
It's just easier to have you on the show.
It is. It's better that way. Also, I said it was, and I stand by this. It's like when you make a really good roast and then the drippings at the bottom, like the way that they did the onions, and they really took their time. Like I love a good reduction. Oh, it is scrumtrelescent. It is well worth the $10. And I don't say that about anything else because I'm old. Like I remember decades ago when Food and Wine, it was like $3.50, maybe like $4 or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and now you're getting $11.
Yeah. Well, okay. So a couple other really good things, which we've done surveys for years now on Instagram, and we say, like, what's your budget? What's a reasonable budget for a food festival? And most people say they're really comfortable with $50. Now, obviously, this doesn't take into account alcohol because alcohol is crazy, crazy expensive. And honestly, if you're going to buy alcohol in Epcot, you should only be going to La Cava, and you should only be getting the seasonal Negroni, which is like the best thing Javier's ever made. Anyway, wasn't it
that
great?
Was so good.
Oh,
I don't like Negronis, and I was like, you know what I need here? I need a fireplace to drink this next to.
Oh, it's remarkable.
If you guys could set fire to something in the pavilion, and I could just sit next to it while I drink this, that would be outstanding.
Yeah, that's the only money you should spend on alcohol. I mean, whatever, the toasted marshmallow.
La Cava and Negroni, but ooh.
So good. Okay, so a couple things that I stood by last year that I still stand by this year, and they didn't go up in price. A couple things. The Valrhona chocolate from Deco Delights, that's the purple one. Like you could see like Blanche Devereaux going out on a date, and that would be what she would order because it's very like Miami Vice vibes in the back of my head, but it's delicious. And it's like 3-4 different textures. Like none of it's easy to do, but it's all just gorgeous, and the size is the same, which I love because a lot of things it's not, like the brie in France, much smaller. The risotto even in Canada, which is still outrageously good. It's smaller servings.
All right, and where in Epcot do we find this?
Deco Delights. Chocolate? Okay, so you know where the old Starbucks is when you first come into World Showcase.
Okay,
it's to the right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
What else is good?
Oh gosh, there's so many things. Okay, so Germany, of course, they just can't do anything wrong, it seems like. But especially the red wine short rib. It's $8.50, so it is a little bit pricey, but it has parsnip puree, which you know is sweeter than potatoes.
Right.
It is delicious. And then I even sprung on my own dime for the frozen rosé. I wouldn't do it on a cold day like this, like it's in the 60s, but it's going to be in the 80s again next week. I'll probably get it a few times. It's so good. We used a fork. We were like perched on our trash can and a spoon, and we didn't have any forks, and they don't have sporks for this festival, which I don't know why. So I was like, whatever, I'm going to use a spoon, and it is literally a spoon tender. It's really good.
Really?
Oh, it's so good.
That's interesting. You mentioned the weather. Like one of the things that we talked about when we were there was how a lot of the people who were with us tasting the food at Festival of the Arts now seem to prefer Festival of the Arts to Food and Wine.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's with the cooler weather, you can have things like soup and not feel like you're eating on the surface of the sun.
Well, it's not just that. Like Festival of the Arts has that. I mean, that's a good point. But Festival of the Arts has so many things to do that spark your brain a little bit. Not to use like a Figment quote, but you can do the paint by numbers. So you feel like you're part of the festival, and you get and it's free. You get that little strip that you get to take home and you get to put in your scrapbook. You get to do chalk art. It officially is for children, but whatever. I'm a 48-year-old child, 49 now. And you can sit and when do you do chalk? I mean, the only time I do it is with Gigi. You get to do like now they have the little pin tables again at the Odyssey. So there's
we didn't talk about this. This is at the Odyssey. They brought back the old ImageWorks pin tables where you've got a bunch of steel pins hanging down from a table, and you can rub your hand against them to make shapes or do things. This was Jim. This was original opening day Epcot ImageWorks features that they brought back to the Odyssey.
I saw that, which leads me to believe that there's some interesting warehouses along I-4 that I need to break into.
You guys got to know somebody. I won't take pictures. And then the other thing is the thing that a lot of people don't take advantage of is the Animation Academy. You get to learn how to draw a character from a real Disney animator. It is free. It is part of the festival. So it's also the best weather we have. Like I'm freezing today, but it's 65. So the rest of you Northerners are walking around just vibing, just loving life right now. Because there's no humidity. Everybody's hair looks good. You're not boiling, literally boiling. Food and wine, it's hard until
food
about
and wine starts in
November.
Starts in July this year.
Yeah.
So it's really till the very end. It's all super hot. All right. What else was good?
Okay, so a couple things from Modern, which is the donut box up near Test Track.
This is over by Test Track.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Angry Crab was the only thing that we liked from there.
I like this. This was a deep fried soft shell crab,
It was so good, and it had the sriracha sauce, which I'm a spice weenie, and it's not bad at all. Like it was nice.
Right. I thought that was one of my highlights from the festival as well.
That was where they had that watermelon Mary with that also had the balsamic boba, and I literally could not swallow it. It is foul.
Yeah, this is the first and last time I tried it, and I was like, that's not great.
Yeah, I wanted
it's
to swallow
super strong vinegar taste, which I mean, it's as a drink doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I could say more. I won't. Okay. The the tomato soup with the pimento cheese, bacon, fried green tomato, grilled cheese from Pop Eats. It's only $6.50. This is the best grilled cheese they've ever done. It's so simple. And the tomato soup is really, really good. Like, it has tons of heavy cream and they put fresh herbs, and then you get to keep the little can, which I have like 4 years worth. I use them for makeup brushes. It's adorable. It's a neat little souvenir.
And where's the Pop Eats booth at?
Pop Eats is at the front. It's right behind Deco. So it's near the old Starbucks. Just as you come into World Showcase, it's to the right.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
What else?
And then I also loved pretty much everything this year, which I didn't love last year, the deconstructed dish, which is right there too. It's a neat little trio of booths right there. So you have Pop Eats, deconstructed dish, and Deco. So you get your soup, your sweet, your savory, crunchy, your dessert. It's wonderful. But they have the best onion bread pudding. So I've been researching recipes because I need to be able to make this. But if you just look at the pictures, first of all, the key lime curd, you can see the key lime zest. Love that.
Oh,
because I hate a false something like you know what I'm saying? Like the banana pudding.
Like the fake truffle oil. Yeah.
Like the banana pudding at Regal Eagle is fake banana flavoring. And
is it really?
It is offensive. But this is
because bananas are expensive. Okay. All right.
I don't know. It's easier to mass produce, and I understand that. It's adorable. But this is all it's all real. It's wonderful. It's so well done. It takes a minute because it is all deconstructed, and they're very particular about the way they played it. It's all gorgeous. I mean, it's Festival of the Arts, so give them a hot second, have a little more patience, because every plate is supposed to be beautifully presented.
Okay.
But I love it. I love this festival. It's really short. Obviously, it ends in 14 more days, and then we've got Flower and Garden, which is also going to be awesome. The beginning of it because of the weather. Flower and Garden begins March 1st. March 1st. Yeah.
And runs through July, right?
Yeah. So the end of it will be a mess. But the beginning, the butterflies are going to be so gorgeous. And the topiaries are amazing. There's flowers on everything. Love, love, love. That's it. Oh, the Encanto booth. That was the one thing I was going to tell you. That's the only booth that serves breakfast. It opens at 9. The breakfast is just breakfast empanada. It's eggs and I believe chorizo and cheese. It's delicious. It's not on the menu on MDE, but it is open, and they do have coffee, but it's the only food booth that is open for breakfast. And that location, every single festival is the only one that's open. Like no matter what it is the only one. It was L'Chaim for Festival of the Holidays. That was open for breakfast too. It's the only
Right.
one that's open for breakfast.
Okay, so this is the booth that is near Morocco.
Between Morocco and France, yeah. So whatever it is, whatever festival it is, that's the one that opens for breakfast. They open at 9 and then immediately
Okay.
switch over, at 11 o'clock.
Okay, so if you're going from Remy to Frozen Ever After, you can stop by. It'll be on your right for some breakfast on the way there.
Yeah, I mean, technically you have to pass the boulangerie, which why would you? The line is really long, but if it's too long, then yeah, whatever festival it is, they definitely serve breakfast. They have like the last 4. It's not like a huge offering, but what they have is really good.
Well, that's what's important. Good. And what are you working on this week?
Oh my gosh. So we were looking at who came back? Ariel came back. So when she was in the Magic Kingdom, and I started looking, I was looking at the new map. I was looking at Tiana's Bayou and Tron, and I looked at the character meet and greets, and I noticed there were only 4 on the Disney map. So I went on MDE and I was comparing the two, and then I went on the Disney actual website. Literally nothing matches up. So you had mentioned previously that one of the most important things to people who come to Disney World with kids is character meets. And we're not just guessing at that. You get like hundreds of thousands of surveys through the unofficial guide and touring plans. And so, I mean, it's facts. People respond and they say, this is really important to my kids, and kids are 17 and under. So knowing that characters are super important, and I knew for a fact that there were like 15 characters around at least. Turns out there's 21, but 15, I decided to stalk them this week, and it ended up being really popular on Instagram. People are saving that information. So we're working on like a way to add that to the touring plan. Not sure what that's going to look like, or it'll be on our website.
Cool.
But I've got pictures and stuff on Instagram to show you all of the characters and where they are, where you can find them, because it's not something you're going to find on the website. You have to sort of just bump into them. But like the people that listen to you guys are hyper planners. They're not like a laissez-faire type of folk. So, I mean, you want to know where you can find Chip and Dale, and you want to know where you can find Aladdin and that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was a good find. That there were
so many
character greetings that weren't on MD, and that brings me back to the thing that you discovered about the DuckTales adventure. That you are finding adventures and quests.
Hyper in love with DuckTales, and I just need a friend who is this devoted. I have found 33 missions, and I know there are more, but you forced me to go to other parks, so I can't spend as much time at Epcot.
Yes.
Every time I go, I play, and it is so impressive. Like, you could spend 4 hours. There's the zombies in Germany and the robot troll in Norway. You get prizes like little treats and things from cast members. And even though it says 1 player, I feel like a lot of people are turned off by that when the Play Disney app. It's totally not. Okay, so you have one of your kids like work the phone, but everybody can participate.
So is it only really 1 player?
It says 1 player, but it's not.
Because Laurel and I were trying to play together in Mexico, and we could never get it to be anything other than 1 player.
It technically is 1 player, but let's just say in China, there's a secret code. You have to go into the gallery and you have to tell a cast member this secret code, and they give you this secret prize that has a secret message. So maybe you have one kid do that one, somebody else does UK, or you say the secret phrase together. And shout out to the cast members, because they are playing along. Like, they are being super sleuthy. They're not like they're really into this. The ones that I have encountered, like, you have to, like, you say it kind of out of the corner of your mouth, like you're in a like 1920s, gangster movie.
Like it's an episode of The Americans.
Yeah, they're totally into it. And, I look super weird.
Awesome.
I'm an old lady walking around by myself, and I'm like, it's really cool. I found 33.
The moon is full.
I found 33, but I keep begging people, like, for real, tell me if you find more. And we've all decided unofficially that we're going to do a drunk DuckTales meetup in December. But you have to be serious. Like, you cannot be yelling secret phrases.
33 quests would be like all day.
Oh, it can easily take you 4 or 5 hours. That's one of those things. I did a little, again, I'm going to send you to this really cool Instagram that I know about. There's a lot of free things to do in Epcot that for kids that people don't take advantage of. Like, people say Epcot's not for kids. Big fat lie, totally for kids. There's not more than just the Kid Cot. Like, you have that whole Dory Explorer scavenger hunt thing, totally free.
Right.
Fantastic. But anyway, yes, DuckTales is the bomb.
Awesome.
Catch me in Epcot playing DuckTales.
All right, cool. All right, I'll be down in a week or so. Let's go do a DuckTales thing.
So much fun.
And then I'll take you to Takumite because I went there, and I'll talk about it on the next show.
Okay, that sounds great.
It does it. All right, Christina, thanks for coming back on. Where can people find more of you?
Okay, so there is an Instagram, and it's Touring Plan. I'm going to send it to you. You have to check it out.
Okay,
it's really cool.
It sounds great.
It's a really big deal. I'll send it to you.
Awesome, thank you. All right. By the way, did I tell you about the Takumite follow-up surveys that I did?
You know what? I'm a little bitter, so it's fine. You can tell me. It's whatever.
Well, so I went to Takumite with my friends Justin and Jeremy for Justin's birthday a couple weeks ago, and Jimmy.
Which PS was 2 days before mine, and I've been begging you to go, but it's fine. Everything's fine.
The important thing is that you're not.
It's not a big deal.
Okay, so no, that's fine. Yeah. So we go in, and part of it was great because Jeremy and Justin and Becky all speak Japanese, so that's always good. And Takumite has that $250 fixed price menu. Here's the interesting thing: the food was excellent, service was excellent. Every single thing that we ate, and it was multiple courses. Every single thing that we ate was great. The Wagyu was literally the best Wagyu I've ever had anywhere. We had separate sushi courses, separate sashimi courses. Everything was fantastic. So I go back and look at the surveys, trying to figure out how do other people rate Takumite? Because I think it's one of the best dining experiences in Walt Disney World, and probably the best meal you could have dollar for dollar in a theme park, right? And the surveys are 80% approval, a little bit less than that. I'm like 4 out of 5. You're like, what's going on? The 20% of people who don't like it. What is it? So I started writing emails to everyone who had sent in a survey since it reopened. I'm like, hey, you rated this a thumbs down. Why? And I can classify the answers in 2 different categories. One is it was just too expensive. People are not comfortable paying $200.
But you know that going in.
You do. The other interesting thing is people thought it was the other restaurant. They thought it was Tepanito. And they're like, yeah, I didn't think Tepanito was that great. And here's what keyed me into it. I wrote back and I was like, I wrote to somebody and they're like, we've got places like this in my town that are just as good. I'm like, you've got a place in your town that is like Takumite?
Wow.
And because that's impressive.
Yeah.
Right? If you live in New York, I get that, or a big city. And they're like, oh yeah, we meant the other place. So it's actually going to lead to us redesigning the survey that we send out, where we include either pictures or descriptions of the individual restaurants, so that we know that the thing we're talking about.
Awesome.
Okay, well that would definitely take the artificial drag off of the survey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. I think it will. I think it'll help. So we'll look forward to that. And we've got our second special star on today's show. She's also a returning guest, and she's a museum specialist at the Smithsonian Museum of American History and author of the new book, Mirror, Mirror for Us All, Disney Theme Parks and America's National Narratives. Please welcome back to the show, Bethanee Bemis. How's it going, Bethanee?
It's going well. How are you guys?
We are well. All right. So Bethanee, I love the book. I read it when it came out. Let's talk about it first, and then we'll talk about some of the stuff that you're doing. So you say that the book looks at Disney's physical spaces in relation to America's collective memory and identity. What does that mean?
That means that the Disney parks themselves, apart from all the other Disney offerings and things like that, play a very special role in how Americans think of themselves. And so I wanted to do sort of a deep dive into what that meant. And the result of that is this little book.
And you talk about not only the theme parks, but you talk about sort of the history of Disney as a media company as well, dating back to Walt's very first television shows. So one of my favorite lines you have in the book is this: "We must meet the people where they are, and they are at Disney World." And actually, I quoted this back to you yesterday, and you said that's the second time someone's told me this in 2 days. Which is so that line seems to resonate with readers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of independent studies out there on Disney visitorship that say that within the U.S., anywhere between 80 and 90% of people will visit a Disney theme park at some point in their lifetime. That is a massive impact. Right. So, I mean, the people really are. They're at Disney World. And if academics want to really understand what the public is thinking and feeling and saying about America, I don't think there's a better place for them to start.
I just remember once talking with somebody at Kodak, and they were mentioning, I mean, this was back in the era of like the photomat where, you couldn't get to drop your reels of film off to be developed, but they had this ridiculously high percentage of the photos developed in America. 60 to 70% of them at one point involved photos taken inside of a Disney theme park. This is the film we're developing inside of the country.
That's incredible.
I wonder if there's any other cultural institution in America that has that much coverage. Like, do you think 80 or 90% of Americans have gone to a Major League Baseball game or an NFL game or been to a Broadway show? Like, I would bet the answer is no on all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I don't think that we have the same cultural expectation on the part of families to go to a Broadway show or go to a theme park. But if you talk to, most sort of middle-class American families, they have this goal to take their children to a Disney theme park. And for whatever reason that they're doing that, it is having the effect of creating all of these sort of collective memories in all of these different generations as they go through these parks.
So you mentioned collective memories, and it reminds me of one of my favorite anecdotes in the book, and that's how when Disney put out the Davy Crockett TV series back in the 50s, for a lot of Americans, they treated that as historical fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them didn't know the story of Davy Crockett, and they were watching it week by week to see how the story turned out. Do you remember the anecdote from the book?
The best anecdote from the book that I found was that there was a family that actually wrote to the Disney studio. So, today the Disney Crockett's have been stitched together. You can watch them all as one film, but they came out in a series. And one family wrote to Disney that if they didn't get Crockett out of the Alamo safely, that they were not going to keep watching Disney's programming.
Oh dear.
And even Disney did not, go that far in their revision of history. But it was a very intense cultural moment that Davy Crockett created. I mean, there were schools that were changing their curriculums the day after the shows came out so that the kids could come in and talk about it, because they were going to be talking about it, whether the teachers wanted them to or not. And it became a real teaching moment.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's a great story. Because I envision Walt getting that letter and then handing it to some poor secretary to say, please respond to this family. like where do you go from that?
Maybe throw in a coonskin cap. Okay,
exactly.
Placate them.
You also talk about Walt Disney Studios' effort during the wars and its cooperation with the American military. And that started with World War II?
Yeah, so I mean, it really starts, immediately upon the bombing of Pearl Harbor, right? The government requisitions half of Disney Studios and says, we're coming in here, we're going to be using this as a base from which to protect the Lockheed Martin plant, which is down the street. But even before that, Disney's producing propaganda for the Canadian government during World War II.
Really?
Yeah, the first shorts that they do are for the Canadian government, for their treasury, I believe.
Wait, the first propaganda films that Disney did for World War II were for the Canadians?
I am almost positive. I'll look that up for your show notes.
I can back that up. Yeah.
Was it about protecting the maple syrup industry? Was it like what?
I want to say, wasn't it reusing footage from like the Three Little Pigs?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's what's so weird about the film. There were, of course, the actual how to put rivets on an airplane to make them flush, that sort of thing. But there were also, frankly, a number of films that were done to suggest to people, you want to be, patriotic, go buy a war bond.
And I think that that's what they did for Canada as well. Were war bond promotional films in the beginning.
Okay, now I need to go find those. That'll be my my homework for the end of the show. All right, so you mentioned that they did films directly related to the war effort, like Donald Gets Drafted, right?
So they're, amusing, but they're also, very serious, right? If Donald can serve something, he's not even very good at it, but we'll take him anyway.
And the reason why I mentioned this one is I saw a Warner Brothers film on YouTube around getting drafted as well. And it was essentially a message to those about to be drafted saying, it sounds scary, but you'll be fine. Was that also the message in Donald Gets Drafted? Like, what was Disney trying to say here? Who was the audience, and what was the message?
I mean, I think that it's both. It was sort of a crossover for Disney, right? It's both a message of, yes, all of us can serve in some way, and it's, as you said, less threatening than it sounds, unless your superior officer is Pete, right? Which I guess is the real issue for Donald. But also that Disney can still produce entertainment during this time that is sort of tasteful and in line with where the country is. I think it's their sort of pitch to find what their sort of niche in the market is going to be that's both going to enable them to make money and do something for the country.
So were they producing these films at cost, or they were actually managing to earn a slight profit from them?
Most of the propaganda films were done at cost. So anything that the government requested, it was done at cost.
But the films also kept the Disney studio in the American public mind, right? So that when Disney came out with other films, they could promote those.
It got a little strange, though. I mean, for example, The New Spirit, exhibitors actually kind of got pissy about this because Disney made this for the government to, again, could compel people to go pay their income tax to help with the war effort. But the notion was that the exhibitors were like, why should we pay for a new Disney short to air in our theater when we have this one that we got for free from the government? And it did kind of bite Disney in the butt for a while.
Really? Because exhibitors didn't want to pay for new films.
Well, again, they had the, in fact, there was The New Spirit, and I want to say The Spirit of 43, a second film that was also supposed to compel people to get their income tax paid on time. And same thing. It was like, why should I pay for a new Disney short when I get this one for free? But again, Walt, it's like, okay, we'll do it. And at the same time, as you mentioned, they were getting paid by the Benetgang and the Army and that sort of thing for all these training films, like, how to spot planes and the like.
Right, and how they turn that down. And it both boosts Disney and bites Disney in the butt in the sense that it really allies them with the United States, right? It makes them extremely representative of the United States. And within the U.S., that's seen as a positive. Now, there's a story in the book about a Japanese politician who to this day is very vocally anti-American and anti-Disney because he remembers being shot at by planes that had Mickey Mouse painted on the side. That's not what the Disney company wants to hear, probably. Right. But for better or worse, right, it is this World War II moment, I think, that cements Disney as, this symbolically American company.
Did we see the same thing in like Germany and Italy at the end of World War II, where there were Germans who were like, yeah, not sure I want to go visit a Disney theme park because I remember the bombs?
Well, Germany sort of nixed most Disney films. So if you were watching a Disney film, you probably were of a certain political persuasion.
Oh, good point.
At the time, yeah.
All right, moving on to the next chapter. It's Disneyland and Walt Disney World experiencing history and identity at Disney parks. And here you talk about how Disney represents history and identity physically in the parks. And you concentrate only on specific lands, right?
That's mostly a time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was mostly, I'd love to in the future sort of go back and do more lands. But I focused on the lands that, to me, most embody these like American values.
Okay, and they are?
And they are Main Street, Frontierland, Liberty Square, and Tomorrowland.
And what are some of the things that that you notice in those lands that sort of exemplify how Disney portrays history and identity?
I think that, when I was writing it, what sort of struck me most was the way in which, obviously, the experience at Disney is meant to be a good one, right?
Yep.
But the side effect of that, of course, is that if you're on Main Street, say, and you're experiencing this turn of the century town that you have never experienced in your life because it doesn't exist anymore, the feeling that you were getting about this time period is based on all of these cues that Disney is giving you, right? It tastes sweet. It smells like fresh baked bread. Everyone is, right, very excited about the train coming to town. So ultimately what that does for the visitor is create this sense that that time period was full of happiness and light, which is not necessarily true for everyone. right? And that's not to
Right.
say that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it is just something that is interesting for researchers to be sort of cognizant of, and for people to be cognizant of when they're there, is how the sort of melding of this fun Disney experience with this also experience of a certain time in history creates these sort of false memories.
Right. When I was I'd read a preview of the book before I did my IAPA talk in November, and one of the points I made at the IAPA talk that I learned from your book was every themed attraction has a social, political, and economic point of view. You just have to figure out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So in the case of Main Street, and I think you point this out in your book, right? One of the implicit messages is on the benefits of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, that was a theme throughout Walt's life. He had benefited, right, from free enterprise and being an entrepreneur. And I think that when he thought about this time period, that was what he saw, right, was this period of opportunity. And so that's what he chose to represent in his park. Now, if you think about, the park itself, or the Main Street idea is in part based on Fort Collins, Colorado, right? What brings Fort Collins its prosperity at the turn of the century, and what makes it this vision, right, of perfect economic moment in the 1900s is the sugar beet industry, which one relies heavily on immigrant labor, and two apparently smells really bad.
So wait, we're not getting the smell of processed beets on Main Street?
Apparently, and I'm not a beet processor, but I actually there was someone at the time who said that the scent was comparable to a slaughterhouse in midsummer.
Oh,
Okay, I've actually been to a slaughterhouse in summer, which is a completely different story. And let me just say that is not a pleasant smell. That is super interesting. But this is also where you reference the smellitizer.
Exactly, right? So what you're smelling on Main Street that might to you now smell like, the turn of the century, and the confectionaries pumping out candies or whatever. You're actually walking down a street that probably would have smelled apparently like a slaughterhouse in midsummer mixed with horse manure, which Disney also doesn't allow, to taint its streets, right? And of course, we understand why Disney's not going to make it smell like a slaughterhouse in midsummer. Right. But it's interesting, if you're thinking about what life was really like for people, this ain't it.
Fantastic. And so beyond Main Street, what other lands piqued your interest in, for this chapter?
Liberty Square is obviously a really interesting one, of course, for its direct representation of a time period. But I also thought a lot about Frontierland in ways that I hadn't before. In particular, how when one is sort of standing along the river, the sounds that you hear are not just evocative of the time period, but also sort of place you on the frontier, in the sense that, if you hear sort of the riverboat and the train in the background, it's placing you on the other side of it, right? It's literally placing you on the frontier, away from these sounds of sort of humanity and travel. And so even just sort of, things like that Disney probably didn't necessarily think about, right? They were like, oh, there's a boat in frontier land because there's steamboats on the Mississippi River. All of those things contribute both to the theming and then your sense of where you are in time.
Oh, that's fantastic. And if you stand in front of the Frontierland Shooting Arcade, you can hear rifles along with the train and the riverboat. So that is definitely a frontier sort of soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely. And you now I associate Frontierland with the smell of like roasted nuts, which is definitely not something that they really were having a lot of on the frontier. But I will never think of the frontier without that scent. Now.
That's yes, Lewis and Clark, Nuts for Nuts. Yes, exactly. You mentioned in another chapter that protesting at the Disney parks is sort of an American, not tradition, but definitely something that's been done before. And you have a talk here about the Yippies protest at Disneyland, right?
The Yippies protest is like so fascinating, and I actually got some really great photographs of it during the call that you guys really helped us with at the museum about looking for photographs from the public. And I got all these photographs.
So you got photographs from the public of the Yippies?
Yes. Well, one guy sent me photos. He was there that day, and he had gone through and taken all these photographs. And in one of the photographs, he was lucky enough to sort of go throughout the day, right? So I published some of those in the book, but there's photographs of the Yippies sort of gathering on Tom Sawyer Island. There's photographs of them on Main Street, which is where the confrontation between sort of the straights and the Yippies really happened, right?
Okay.
Because the story that I've uncovered or heard were that there was someone who tried to raise the Yippie flag next to the American flag in Main Square, in Town Square. And the Yippie flag featured a large marijuana leaf. So if you were someone who, was really, really a fan of the red, white, and blue, this was a big insult to you. So, from all the accounts that I've read, that's what really sets off like the incidents of violence that happened that day, and which is really only one guy turning to that guy and going, "How dare you, raise your stupid flag next to the flag of my country," and sort of ripping it out of his hands. But there's also the story from some cast members that were there that day that say Dick Nunis, right, president of Disneyland, of course, is also out, and that he hauls the guy over and punches him in the face.
Oof. Was he wearing shorts when he did it?
Whether he did that, because he was affronted for the United States or for Disneyland is really hard to say. But in the photographs that I was sent, there's a guy that just looks an awful lot like Dick Nunis. They're not of a quality that I can prove it, but I kind of want to believe that this guy who is seen in the photographs hauling one of the Yippies out a side door on Main Street is actually Dick Nunis. I can't prove it, but I want to believe it.
Well, the weird part of it is I want to say Dick Nunis has just recently published his memoirs, and Dick steps around this
for liability. If the statute of limitations has run out, Dick, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there is a story at one point, I want to say, that Dick calls a long-haired off stage, only to find out that as the wig comes off in his hands, he's just grabbed an undercover policeman who was supposedly watching the Yippies.
And in the photograph that Bethanee, that you have in the book, is the Anaheim police were actually in the park on that day, because you've got them on Main Street, USA, right?
Yeah. They're lining Main Street with their batons. It's a very dystopian image, almost.
No, absolutely. And Disney did its damnedest to keep those images out of the public eye. It's only like in the last 10 or 15 years that there's this amazing file of photos that were taken at Disneyland that day by Disney's own people from, like, for example, looking down from the rooftops on Main Street at that line of policemen that have, finally begun to filter out. So, but yeah, very, very memorable images.
All right, Bethanee, the last chapter I want to talk about is titled Retheming, Visualizing a Changing America at Disney Parks. And you mentioned here that Disney has a long history of updating its parks to reflect current social views. And you mentioned two things in particular. One was that alcohol was once not sold in Walt Disney World, and now there's a thing called drinking around the world. Also, that smoking was once permitted inside the parks and now is not, right?
Yeah, those are, I think, sort of the safest things for Disney to sort of point to, right, when they have to talk about social change. Because today, there are very few people who would be okay with smoking in the parks. It's not contentious to talk about now.
Right.
Whereas some of the other things, we just saw with Splash Mountain, they get really contentious, when I think that what we're seeing is actually just a continuation of things like allowing alcohol or not allowing smoking. It's really just Disney keeping up with sort of a changing America.
Do you get a sense of when Disney decides to make that change? Like, is there an indicator that they looked at to say, you know what, this percentage of Americans no longer support smoking in public? Like, is it like 50%? Is it 75%? Is it 80%? Or how do they feel their way along these sorts of things?
You mean, I'd love to know the exact answer to that, of course. Yeah. But I suspect, so one example that I talk about is when Disney sort of starts wading into the fray of LGBTQ representation in the United States, which it doesn't, for Disney, it kind of comes to a head with a confrontation between a young couple who were trying to dance together, two men who were trying to dance together at Disneyland, and then ended up suing Disney when they were kicked out of the park for doing so. And very quickly after that, Disney starts to sort of update its policies, right? They start to allow same-sex dancing, which they say is just because all the kids want to dance together. And then they give benefits to same-sex partners of their cast members. And that comes at a time when, this is a question that a lot of corporations are struggling with. And Disney is among the first corporations to give those benefits, which has the effect of both pushing forward sort of the progress that the country is making in that era, but in also sort of representing the mainstream culture at the time, which really was changing in favor of looking differently at members of the LGBT plus community. And I think that Disney had internal pressure, right, from cast members who were in that community, but also that they are reading sort of the studies that come out that say an increasing number. And my guess is that as the numbers start to creep up, that they are tracking these sort of trajectories, right? That it's not once it hits 50%, we do this, right? But it's that, like, look, every year the number of people who say they're okay with X or they don't like X is increasing. So this is where the country is going, and that's where we have to go to.
That makes sense. And when it comes to things like, employee benefits, that has to do a lot with the fact that Disney's a business, right? And in order to hire, people, in order to hire qualified people, you need to offer competitive benefits. And that was eventually seen as a competitive benefit, right?
It's also worth noting here that in the case of LGBTQ issues, Disney, kind of an interesting bit of sleight of hand, when they acquired Cap Cities ABC in 1995, ABC Cap Cities already had this policy in place, and Disney was genuinely struggling at the time to the effect of, we want our gay employees to enjoy the same benefits as our straight employees. And it's like, oh, gee, we bought Cap Cities, and those regulations are grandfathered into the corporation. Oh, darn it. Okay, we have no choice.
We have to give them to everyone.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It was their get out of jail free card. Yeah. But Disney does pay attention to what's going on in society, but I think, as we've just seen in the past year with its struggles with Florida's governor, it's just sometimes when you take a step forward, you are then forced to take a step back, largely because of issues that are out of your control.
Bethanee, you also talk about women through the Disney park lens, and also minority representation on Disney landscapes. What examples did you have in mind there?
I think with women, it's very subtle. We don't see the same kind of large cultural confrontations that we're seeing right now with minority representation as much, right? I mean, when they removed, the redhead from Pirates of the Caribbean, that was about as contentious as it got. But long before that, there were issues of what women could do when they worked at Disneyland. Women were cast in sort of hostess roles, right? And men were cast in driving roles. So you didn't have women driving you around. A great example would be the canal storyboats, right? Like there's a narrator, there's a driver who gets to do what, and that changes over time. It was a men's role for a while, it was a women's role for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that. There was when Disneyland originally opened, drivers were always men.
Yeah, women were not allowed to drive. You couldn't be a conductor on the train. You couldn't drive the Jungle Cruise boat. It just wasn't something that was acceptable. And powers that be at Disneyland in the 70s say that they attempted to have women come in and drive the Jungle Cruise boats, but that the women found it too difficult.
Too difficult to drive a boat on a rail?
Because it was a physical job that required moving boats, yes. But as the 70s move on, right, we've got Walt Disney World now, and Walt Disney World, when it opened, did not have the same prohibitions in place that Disneyland did in the 50s. And so there's a particular female cast member from Disneyland who visits Walt Disney World and sees women driving the Jungle Cruise boats. And she comes back and says, "Excuse me, I want that job." And that really ends up changing it for good, right? So now you get off, as long as you can deliver like a really bad joke, then you can be on the Disney Cruise, on the Jungle Cruise boat. It's regardless of your gender.
Yeah, that's the one qualification, I think, right?
Yeah. A bad sense of humor.
That's fantastic.
And so I think it's the roles of women at Disney is very subtle. And now we're seeing it sort of play out in the princess space, right? That the princesses are sort of being the lens with which we look at them as they're attempting to shift it. If you see all the merchandise, it's more about how they're strong and they're brave and they're this and they're that, and they're not just asleep and like waiting for someone to save them. But I also think it's the way that cast members in the parks were treated, which is most interesting to me, because that's what has a real impact in sort of everyday life.
Are there other examples of roles that women couldn't have in the parks?
I think that driver was the main one, and once women were able to do that, then they felt like they had really come into their own as Disney park employees. And
Bethanee, you also talk about in the book minority representation on Disney landscapes. Can you give an example of that?
One really nice, like bite-sized example that I point to lately is that when at Walt Disney World they reopened Main Street Confectionery after closing it down, they had this sort of themed column at the front and the windows on the outside that talked about a bake-off, right? The sort of classic American, like we're gonna all bake a pie and see whose apple pie is the best. But the contestants were extremely diverse. And one of them, in fact, Saul Fitz, is, to my knowledge, still the only acknowledged LGBTQ plus character represented in a Disney theme park. They talk about his baking for his partner, Gary Henderson, and I think PR acknowledged that yes, it's a same-sex couple.
Oh, you got PR to actually acknowledge it. It's canon.
I think so, yeah. But he's still the only one. I'm sure more are coming. But in any case, I think that's a really great example of ways in which Disney can and does sort of quietly shift the narrative. Right, they're not radically changing Main Street. They're just adding a little bit of spice and diversity into it, right? So that those main values are still there of prosperity and enterprise and but it's like everybody gets to participate in those values.
I mean, that's the thing, right? If 80 or 90% of Americans visit a Disney theme park, then those 80 to 90% of Americans need to see themselves in the parks, both as cast members and in the attractions as well. So
yeah, I think that's not only probably the right thing to do, but also I'm guessing the financially responsible thing to do as well.
It's good and good business. All right. And Bethanee, you had mentioned that we now have an opening date for the Smithsonian Museum of American History's exhibit, Mirror, Mirror Reflections of America in Disney Parks. And what date is that, Bethanee?
The show will be open on April 15th, which is tax day. So if you want to treat yourself, I guess, after finishing your taxes, you could come to the museum and see our exhibit, which will finally be on the floor. And it feels like it's very soon. We're all really excited to share it with everyone.
And it's running for a full year, right? So this is a major exhibit for the museum.
Yeah, I mean, it's about 1,000 square feet. And I have put as much Disney stuff into that 1,000 square feet as I possibly could, including several hundred pictures submitted by the public who are incredibly generous with us with their photos and their stories.
And are you going to be on hand at the launch, at the opening?
I'll do my best. Yeah. No, I mean, I live near here. Of course I am. I'll come down.
Yeah. Jimmy, you and I have to get out there to see this when it opens for two reasons. One is I'm super excited about it. And the second is that I absolutely do not want to visit Washington, D.C. during the summer. So spring is a better idea. All right. So Bethanee, April 15th, 2023 for the exhibit at the Smithsonian Museum of American History. And your book now is out. That's Mirror, Mirror for Us All, Disney Theme Parks and America's National Narratives. You can get that on Amazon, right?
Yeah. The easiest way.
Fantastic.
And honestly, folks, it is worth it alone for the transcript from the Oval Office between Nixon and J.R. Haldeman.
I know the one you're
just
talking about.
Hey, should we attend the opening of Walt Disney World? What do you think?
Maybe we swing by for the weekend.
There we go.
It's a Richard Nixon doing vacation planning, but it's a transcript in the Oval Office. It's so great. Bethanee,
unintended consequences of his actions. Right?
The two things I get out of the recording system that he had installed were Watergate and this.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Bethanee, where can people reach you on social media?
I am at Bemis Celestio on Twitter, and that is where I post most of my Disney-related content.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being on the show, and we look forward to seeing you in DC in April.
Very smart.
Yes, come on down. Can't wait.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, Jim gives us the history and future of Disney's Swiss Family Treehouse. We'll be right back.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for this day.
Every Who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one Who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
The detective said missing kids usually come home. What happens when they don't?
Based on a true story.
Police looking for John Gacy.
We discovered bodies. By the looks of it, they're younger men.
The things he did to those kids. He's sick.
The system failed these families.
Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Streaming now, only on Peacock.
Do you know how many there are?
Up to you to find out.
All right, Jim. The Swiss Family Treehouse, the mainstay of Adventureland, the thing that everyone walks by on the way to Jungle Cruise and Pirates. What about it? It's changing, right?
Well, yeah. And everything old is new again. Because remember, in March of '99, the Swiss Family Treehouse closed at Disneyland. And after, and in fact, Tony Baxter talks about why this was done. At one point, Len, the Swiss Family Treehouse was, well, not necessarily the most popular attraction at Walt Disney World, just because of its physical setup. Only 1,200 people an hour could go through it. And in fact, what with the way it was set up with the 3 rooms and the 68 steps up and the 69 steps down, only 200 people could be in the attraction at any one time. But because it was a C ticket when it opened, and C ticket at Disneyland was 35 cents, and the fact that it only took 3 people to operate the Swiss Family Treehouse. You needed one person at the front turnstile collecting the tickets. Right. You needed another cast member up at the top to make sure that people weren't stepping over the velvet ropes and, going
trying to climb
and
into
lying down in the boot. There we go. All right. And then you needed a third cast member at the exit to make sure nobody was going up the back steps. This was the most profitable attraction in the park,
Really?
Because, well, it only took $21,000 a year. That covered the salaries of the 3 cast members. Likewise, the poor janitorial staff that had to go up the 68 steps and come down the 69 steps. And then I want to say there was $16,000 a year just on maintenance. For example, maintaining that water wheel system that,
right.
By the way, 200 gallons of water, were traveling through that thing at any one time. I mean, wow. Heavy duty machinery to the equivalent. But I want to say in 1965, Len, this one attraction made $313,000 in profit for Disneyland.
Wow. I mean, that's good. That's good money now.
That's it exactly. Yeah. And when you compared the 30 people to operate safely, mind you, the Autopia or in Tomorrowland, or for that matter, the Jungle Cruise just downstairs, you needed 26 people to operate that. The fact that you could get the Swiss Family Treehouse up and running each day with just 3 employees, who, by the way, often as not, were supplementing their salary with kind of a neat trick. Have you heard about what they used to do with the boys' beds up in the crow's nest of the Swiss Family Treehouse?
No, this is the bedroom at the top of the stairs, right?
Very top of the stairs. Well, evidently, one enterprising cast member one day is like, well, wait a minute. Let's conduct a psychological experiment here. And what he literally does is he empties his pockets. He throws like a handful of coins and $1 on the bed. And then just steps back and watches what happens. And sure enough, members of the public, who were standing outside the velvet rope said, "Oh, people threw money in the bed. Okay, I'll do that too.
Honey, give me a quarter."
So,
yeah.
No, that's it exactly. So by the end of the shift, this guy had collected, I want to say, upwards of $20 off of seating the bed, and he would do this every shift that he worked. And it was like, he was doubling and tripling his salary again that he was making each day at Disneyland. And this continued until a supervisor came through one day and said, "Hey, what's with the money in the bed?" "Oh, I have no idea, sir. Let's contact those people who do the Snow White wishing well. We'll donate this to them."
Well, the funny thing is like if you look at what the average worker made in 1960, it was probably under $6,000 a year. So if this dude's making $100 a week, he's living large.
Oh no, absolutely. But here's the thing that again, to get to the point in 99, what happened was that 1,200 people an hour, once the ticket book system went away at Disneyland, and remember, the ticket book system used to sort of artificially spread people around the park. You'd look and it's like, okay, I got 3 C tickets left over. Well, what's a C ticket? What can we get on? And it's like, well, all right, we get the Treehouse. Let's go on that. That's right here. When they switched to the passport system, people were no longer forced to, okay, I got 8 tickets left over, I got B tickets, let's go ride the omnibus or that sort of thing.
Sure.
People began to sort of, okay, the Treehouse looks like work. In fact, there used to be a joke during, it was called the Swiss Family Stairmaster, because it was like, oh, God, I have to climb this thing. So by the late 90s, the hourly attendance at the Swiss Family Treehouse had fallen from 1,200 people an hour to 300 people an hour.
Oof.
And Tony Baxter, on the other hand, he sees a rough cut of Tarzan and notices that the movie ends with Tarzan and Jane remaining in the jungle, and just sort of like, well, they're going to need a place to live. And it's like, I have an idea. So they shut down the attraction for 3 months. They retool it so it now looks like the treehouse that the Tarzan's parents assemble at the beginning of that film.
Okay.
And the actor James MacArthur, depending on what age you are, like you either know him, he's Dano from the original Hawaii Five-0, or he's one of the sons in the Disney's Swiss Family Robinson movie. And Disney actually invited him to the park the day they shut down the Swiss Family Treehouse to get it ready to be the Tarzan Treehouse.
Really?
Yeah, and James, there's this wonderful quote from James. He says, "I don't know how to feel about this because, I feel like I outlived my memorial." It's like...
I wonder if they let him keep any of the stuff like, here's your bed.
There we go. But the Tarzan Treehouse shut down in the middle of the pandemic, and it is coming back as the Adventureland Treehouse. And again, what's kind of interesting here is they split the difference. They're bringing back a lot of the touches from the original Swiss Family attraction that opened at Disneyland in November of 1962. In fact, I highly recommend folks go to YouTube. Search term should be Swiss Family Treehouse John Mills, because John Mills, the actor who actually played the father in the Swiss Family Treehouse, it's this wonderful 3-minute and 42-second long video of Walt himself taking John Mills and his daughter Haley, who you may know,
there you go. Yeah.
and John's wife Mary through the Swiss Family Treehouse just prior to it opening. And what you'll especially enjoy, Len, if you at the very beginning of the film, you see them walk in from the right, and if you look behind them, it's the absolutely flattened construction site for Pirates of the Caribbean New Orleans Square.
They didn't have a giant green wall up at that point. It was just like, just
don't
look at that.
No, they did
just don't look at the giant hole.
Not. But you can look at this thing pristine, just as Walt had it created. And it says a lot about the Imagineers at this time when Walt initially said, because the Swiss Family film came out in December of 1960. So think about it. They had the attraction open in the park in less than 2 years. It opened November of 62. There's these wonderful full-page ads that Disney bought to announce a lot, that Disneyland reaches new heights of entertainment. It's like when Walt said, "I want a Swiss Family Treehouse," in the park, the Imagineers initially fought him on it.
And they're like, nah, no one wants to walk up all those stairs.
That's it exactly. And more to the point, right across the street on Tom Sawyer's Island, kids want to get up in a treehouse. There's one right there, And the Imagineers were arguing that on the back of, look, you've only given us $7 million, and we have to use this money to start work on not only Pirates of the Caribbean, but also New Orleans Square. In fact, there's some amazing photos of in 62 of them digging the foundation of the Haunted Mansion, where they had to go, they actually had to drain the rivers of America because they were digging the 2 elevator shafts for the stretching room.
Oh, right.
And then at the same time, at the other edge of Adventureland, they're building the Tahitian Terrace. They're laying the foundation work for Tiki Birds. This is when they're during the same window of time, they're adding the Sacred Elephant Bathing Pool to the Jungle Cruise. And
There's a lot going on, yeah.
And Walt wants $250,000 for the Swiss Family Treehouse.
Yeah.
And, Walt, we only have so much time. We only have so much money. And it's like, where you're asking us to build this is where the pipe runs from the Jungle Cruise to the Rivers of America. They shared a water system.
We have to reroute some plumbing now. We didn't. Yeah, it's a lot of hassle. Yeah.
The supports to hold up this 6 tons of steel, that's just the undercarriage of the house. The concrete had to go down 42 feet.
Oh, right, because you still have to worry about wind load and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's it exactly. But Walt's talking with the Imagineers. It's like, okay, Swiss Family Treehouse, or Swiss Family Robinson, directed by Ken Anakin. Gentlemen, I want to point out that the last film that Ken Anakin directed for our studios, Third Man on the Mountain, you may recall the attraction that's based on that movie, the Matterhorn, our most popular attraction in the park. And Ken has given us another film right now. So build it.
Yes.
And that's where we are now. That the folks at Disneyland right now are hoping with this new theme, a very loose theme for the Adventureland Treehouse, because as the story goes, you won't just encounter the Swiss family there and Tarzan. It's quite likely when this reopens later this year, you'll get to meet a certain number of characters from Encanto.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, you know what? A house, a tree, it's a very flexible layout. It's an open concept, Jim.
When you think about this, when it was built mid-century, there you go.
Mid-century.
Classic open plan.
Exactly. When does it reopen? Is it this year?
It's one of these situations where they first want to make sure that Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, which, by the way, has been doing previews this week and getting very high marks. People especially seem to like the queue for this attraction. But it's like, okay, let's make sure that's opened and that's fine, and then we'll pivot to opening the Adventureland Treehouse. But what I'm hearing is spring 2023. And again, as you pointed out with our extendo opening of the rodeo barbecue at Toy Story Land and at Disney's Hollywood Studios, could be a very large range of days before that actually opens.
Okay, but this year. We'll get it this year.
But this year.
Fantastic. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be open by the time we go out there. We'll see.
Well, here's hoping.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for the show today. You can help support our show and Jim Hill Media by subscribing over at disneydish.bandcamp.com, where you'll find exclusive shows never before heard on iTunes. On next week's show, we've got our hands on the first guest survey ever sent out by Disneyland, including the results. And Jim talks about the first day that Disneyland went to a 7-day-a-week schedule back in 1985. You think return to office is controversial now? Just wait. You can find more of Jim at jimhillmedia.com and more of me, Len, at touringplans.com. We're produced fabulously by Aaron Adams, who's moderating Conversations with Birds, a look at the complex world of our feathered friends, including their role in ecosystems and their epic migration journeys. On Saturday, February 18th, 2023, at the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel University on Benjamin Franklin Parkway in beautiful downtown Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. While Aaron's doing that, please go on to iTunes and rate our show and tell us what you'd like to hear next. For Jim, this is Len. We will see you on the next show.